It's Saturday the 3rd of December 2016 and I've just got off the bus at Medmenham in Buckinghamshire to do a circular walk through the Chilterns. It's one of my favourite walks. There is already a video posted of this walk, but it was taken in much poorer quality video, so I'm videoing it in HD now today. And there's the sign for Medmenham along the road, and here is where the walk leaves the road up this footpath. Used to be a stile here, now there's a kissing gate. The path bears to the left and heads steeply uphill. Well, it is the Chilterns. And over to the right, some views. And there's the path continuing. At this junction we ignore the path on the left and continue uphill. You can still hear the main road from here. And as you can see, the path is pretty steep uphill. Now at the top and the path levelling out, lovely woodland all around. The path now winds through the younger trees. I can actually remember when they were a few inches high. Getting quite tall now. Further on, the path heads through more mature woodland again. The path now bears to the left. That stile seems to be redundant now, and we continue ahead. Now over this stile, which clearly isn't redundant, and on with a fence on the right. Ahead there are views over the Thames Valley. Still on the path with the fence on the right. Soon this path will turn sharp right at 90 degrees. At this point here, the path turns sharply to the right. And it now runs with woodland on the left. A view further on the path, and there's the woodland over to the left I was talking about. We now come to this small road which we cross directly to the path up there, through that kissing gate, not the stile on the right. The path passes this old rustic seat which has been there for years, and there's the path. It starts to descend now. The path descends quite steeply, this section through some, again, new plantation. I can remember when these trees were much smaller as well. Now at the bottom, and the path runs level with woodland on the right. We now come to the classic view over the Hambleden Valley. And there's the path ahead, enclosed between fences. Further on we come to this junction and we bear right along this wide path. This path up here can be very muddy in wet weather. It hasn't been that wet, so I'm hoping for the best. We're now heading for Hambleden village. Further on there's evidence of how wet this path can get, but believe me, this is incredibly dry for this time of the year, which shows how little rain we've had lately. Further on there's a sign on a path off to the right. It's part of the Chiltern Way long distance path and also part of Shakespeare's Way long distance path. Shakespeare Way goes from London to Stratford upon Avon. Now in Hambleden village there's the Stag and Huntsman pub, and there's the village. Now at St Mary the Virgin Church, Hambleden. Inside Hambleden Church. Still inside Hambleden Church. Now back outside the church, here's a view of the War Memorial at Hambleden. After a short walk along a road out of Hambleden, the path turns right up this tarmacked track, and the sun has come out, as you can see. We now turn left off the tarmac lane through this kissing gate. After the kissing gate in the last clip, we head uphill through Woodland. Next we bear to the right along this narrow track. Still continuing along the narrow path. The path we were on meets another path, and we bear right uphill. And there's the path ahead. And we come to this wide path where the walk turns left along it. At this junction we carry straight on. At this fork with a gate ahead, the walk takes the right hand path. The path continues through a narrow strip of woodland. Approaching a small road, there is a more extensive area of woodland on the right. I'm now sitting on a stile at the road where I'm going to have a drink and something to eat. A few yards along a road to the right from where I was sitting on that stile, the walk goes over this stile and takes the path ahead. At the other side of the field, the walk bears right along its edge. A stile leads into this strip of woodland and we turn right to go along its edge. We're coming to another field shortly. Now in the next field we follow this edge for a few yards, and where that edge bears right we carry straight on across the open field. At the other side of the field the walk crosses a large track and continues along the footpath ahead there. At this junction, a few yards on from the last clip, the route turns left. Another path junction, and this time we turn right down a wide path that descends. Down that path there. The path descends to a valley floor. We're in dense woodland here. Now bearing right along the path along the valley floor. The ground is incredibly dry for this time of year. The valley floor bears to the left and we continue along it. Further on the path becomes gravelly. Still heading along the gravelly track, this leads to a road. Now at the road, and we've been following part of the Chiltern Way, and if you look at the right hand sign, that little marker is Shakespeare's Way. We now need to go up that road on the right for a few yards, and then a footpath bears off on the left. I've now turned left off that road along this enclosed footpath. At one time this footpath wasn't enclosed. Great view over there. Clouds are starting to build up a bit again. The path continues to the right along this narrow track. Heading along this narrow path which leads to some thick woodland. The path's a bit more open on the right, and now you can see the woodland that we're heading for. We now have an extremely steep climb through these woods. Very steep, as you can see. I've now bear right to join this path on an embankment which runs parallel to a road on the left. This interesting sign at where I took the last clip. And here are what look like some of the training trenches that you saw in that sign in the last clip. We come to a road, bear right along it for a few yards, and then take the second footpath on the left. There are two footpaths on the left quite close together. And that's the way forward along this path. More woodland. Further into the woodland along the path. Beautiful woodland. Follow the white painted arrows through the woodland to keep to the path. Farther on, I was going to say the path becomes better defined. It does slightly, but the problem today is that there's so many leaves covering the paths. As you can see here, the path is better defined. The path bears right to go along the backs of houses. The woodland path bears left and leads into this lane. The walk turns right off the lane along this path, and I'm afraid this one involves a very steep descent. As you can see, it leads steeply down. I'm pointing straight into the sun here. The ground's dry, so it's not too bad. It's not very pleasant when it's wet though. Got to the bottom where the walk turns left along this narrow path. The path's a bit better further on. It follows this wooden fence on the right, and we're running parallel to the main road now, the main road where I started the walk. We now turn right down here to that road ahead. We turn right along the lane. Very pleasant weather now. We now continue steeply uphill ahead. The lane ends and we continue up this narrow path beside a wall. Beyond these interesting logs, or log, the walk joins a wide driveway and turns right. Continuing along the wide path, decent view over to the right. Very good weather now. We now turn left off the wide track down this path. I won't point right at it because it's straight into the sun. As you can see, we're now entering Medmenham Iron Age hill fort. You can see some ramparts there, which is over to the left. The path seems to be on top of a rampart. Impressive ramparts over to the right now. The path now heads straight across here. Heading across Medmenham camp for the final descent to the main road and the end of the walk. At the other side of the camp there's another steep descent. This is the last awkward bit of the walk. Right, I'm down. All that remains now is to descend on this path to the main road. Now at the bus stop in Medmenham and the end of today's walk, and this bus stop is one stop away from where I started. And there's a close-up of the bus stop at the end of the walk.